My dear brothers and sisters, today I want to remind you of a truth that heaven has already settled. Even if the earth has not yet seen it, God is releasing hidden financial blessings into your life. There are miracles already prepared for you, provision already written with your name on it, and breakthroughs that have been waiting for the right moment to manifest. And now, that moment is drawing near. When God begins to move, He often starts in places we cannot see. Just as a seed grows beneath the soil long before it appears above the ground, God begins working on your behalf in realms that your natural eyes cannot witness. You may feel like nothing is happening, but God is aligning people, opportunities, resources, and open doors that will come into your life at the exact time you need them. God is preparing hidden financial blessings that will manifest in His perfect timing. When God begins to move in the realm of provision, He often starts in places where the human eye sees nothing, and yet heaven is already active. Many people misunderstand divine blessings because they expect immediate evidence, immediate change, and immediate results, but God's way is different. He prepares blessings in secret places, in spiritual realms, long before they take shape in the natural world. Just like the seed buried under the soil, the blessing is already alive, already growing, already developing roots, even though the surface remains unchanged. There are moments when you look at your circumstances and feel nothing is shifting, but that is often the very time when God is constructing the foundation of a breakthrough that will not only bless you but sustain you. God's timing is not delayed timing. It is prepared timing, purposeful timing, and perfect timing. There are blessings that God has designed specifically for you, blessings that no one else can receive, blessings that carry your name, blessings tied to your journey, your faith, your battles, and your future assignment. These blessings remain hidden until your character, your faith, and your readiness align with what God intends to release. There are seasons when God hides blessings to protect you from premature exposure. If a blessing arrives before your heart is ready, or before your faith is mature enough to steward it, what was meant to elevate you could overwhelm you. So God nurtures the blessing in the unseen realm while nurturing your spirit in the seen realm. He uses challenges to deepen your trust, uses waiting to sharpen your discernment, uses silence to strengthen your patience, and uses delay to purify your motives. All the while, the hidden blessing continues to grow, to unfold, and to take shape according to God's blueprint. What feels like being overlooked is actually being preserved. What feels like being denied is actually being prepared. What feels like nothing happening is actually divine activity hidden from your natural eyes. God is aligning the right people, the right opportunities, and the right timing so that the blessing, when it arrives, does not pass by unnoticed, but becomes a testimony of His faithfulness. Sometimes the greatest blessings require the greatest preparation. Sometimes the largest breakthroughs require the deepest foundations. God knows every detail of your need, every desire of your heart, every financial burden you carry, and every door that seemed closed. He knows which blessings will strengthen your faith, which blessings will unlock your next season, and which blessings will bring Him the greatest glory. And so He prepares them in the secret places of His purpose, waiting for the moment when your spirit, your situation, and your season are finally aligned with the manifestation He designed for you. Your season of lack is shifting into a season of divine overflow. There are moments in life when it feels as though everything around you is drying up. Resources seem limited, doors appear closed, and opportunities look scarce. And yet these moments are not signs of abandonment, but indicators of transition. God often allows a season of lack not to punish you but to reposition you, to draw your attention away from relying on your own strength and toward trusting His supernatural provision. Lack has a way of humbling the heart, sharpening discernment, and creating a deeper hunger for God's intervention. When everything is abundant, it is easy to forget who the true source of provision is, but when resources shrink, the heart is gently reminded that every blessing, every open door, every breakthrough ultimately comes from God. In the quietness of this season, God begins rearranging things, removing old structures, and preparing you for a shift that will not be produced by your hands alone, but by His divine power. The shift from lack to overflow does not begin in your bank account or your circumstances. It begins in your spiritual atmosphere. God first shifts the unseen realm before He shifts the seen realm. He begins to stir hope where disappointment once lived. He plants seeds of faith where doubt once grew. And He strengthens your inner spirit to carry blessings that your outer situation has not yet reflected. Overflow is not simply about having more. Overflow is about stepping into a realm where God's provision surpasses your expectations, where His goodness exceeds your calculations, where His timing outperforms the limitations of human effort. When God decides to shift your season, it does not matter how long you have struggled, how dry the land has been, or how little you have in your hands. What matters is that the author of abundance has spoken a new chapter over your life. This shift is also a reminder that lack is temporary, but God's favor is eternal. You may have walked through seasons where you felt overlooked, under-resourced, or stretched beyond your limits, but those seasons were shaping your capacity. Overflow requires strengthened vessels. When blessings come suddenly, without preparation, people often mishandle them. But when blessings come after a season of lack, they are valued deeply, stewarded wisely, and used purposefully. God knows when your heart is ready to transition, when your faith is strong enough to receive, and when your character can protect what is coming. So even when circumstances show no evidence of change, heaven may already be declaring that your shift has begun. As God moves you from lack to overflow, He will bring opportunities you did not pursue, connections you did not expect, favor you did not earn, and provision that arrives in ways you could not have planned. The same God who allowed the season of emptiness is the same God who will fill your life to overflowing, not just to meet your needs, but to elevate your purpose, strengthen your testimony, and reveal His glory through your story. God works behind the scenes, aligning opportunities and open doors for you in ways you may not recognize at first. Much of what God prepares for His children begins in silence, in moments where nothing appears to be moving, yet heaven is arranging every detail with precision. There are seasons when you pray and feel no immediate answer, when you take steps of faith and see no visible outcome, and when you wait with a hopeful heart but hear no sound of progress. These moments can make you question whether God is listening, but in truth, these are often the moments when God is working the most. The unseen realm of God's activity is far more intricate than what the human eye can observe. He is orchestrating people, circumstances, timing, and connections in such a way that when the blessing arrives, you will realize it could only have been His hand guiding everything. Sometimes God allows delays not to deny you, but to protect you. You may think you are ready for a certain opportunity or breakthrough, but God sees dangers, challenges, or traps that you cannot see. While you are focused on what you want now, He is focused on what you need for your future. So He works quietly, redirecting certain paths, closing certain doors, and preventing you from stepping into situations that may derail your purpose. This hidden work of God is an expression of His love and wisdom. Even when you feel frustrated, confused, or disappointed by the timing of events, God is aligning something better, something safer, something more powerful for your journey. There are people God is preparing to help you, support you, and favor you, even though you have not met them yet. He is softening hearts in advance, opening minds toward you, positioning individuals in places where they can become vessels of His blessing in your life. What seems like coincidence later will be recognized as divine alignment. The right conversation, the right moment, the right introduction, the right opportunity often comes suddenly, but the preparation for it was happening long before you noticed anything. God is never late. He is never rushing. His alignment is perfect, and when you step into what He has prepared, everything fits together effortlessly, leaving you in awe of how He orchestrated every step. There are also seasons when God removes people or closes doors to clear the path for what is coming. You may not understand why certain relationships ended, why certain opportunities fell apart, or why certain plans didn't succeed, but what feels like loss is sometimes God making room. His hidden work often involves pruning, refining, and repositioning so that you are ready when the new door opens. If He allowed everything you wanted to stay in your life, there would be no space for the greater things He has prepared. So He works quietly, separating you from what would limit you and leading you toward what will grow you. As God aligns opportunities in the unseen, your role is to remain faithful, prayerful, and expectant. Even when you cannot see progress, trust that progress is happening. Even when everything looks still, believe that God is moving. Your breakthrough does not begin the moment you see it. It begins the moment God speaks it. And He has already begun aligning what you will soon step into. Hidden blessings are protected by God and released when your faith is ready. There are many things God desires to pour into your life, but He is a wise Father who knows exactly when to reveal them. Just as a precious jewel is not left exposed where it can be stolen, mishandled, or damaged, God keeps certain blessings concealed until the moment you are spiritually mature enough to carry them without losing your focus or your footing. Sometimes you may wonder why something you have prayed for has not yet appeared, why a breakthrough seems delayed, or why the blessing you expected still remains out of sight. But the truth is, God is not withholding to punish you. He is withholding to protect you. A blessing given too early can become a burden, but a blessing released in season becomes a tool, a testimony, and a source of strength. God knows when your character has been refined, when your trust has been deepened, and when your spirit has been prepared to handle the weight of the blessing without being overwhelmed by it. There are moments when God hides blessings behind challenges, not to hide them from you, but to grow you into the person capable of receiving them. Every challenge pushes your faith to stretch, your patience to strengthen, and your discernment to sharpen. As you learn to rely more on God and less on your own understanding, your heart becomes a safer place for Him to deposit greater provision. The blessing may be hidden, but the preparation is active. God uses every test to prepare your spirit, every delay to prepare your mindset, every closed door to prepare your direction. What you do not see does not mean it does not exist. It simply means it is being shielded from premature exposure. In the same way, a seed is hidden in the soil until the roots grow strong enough to sustain the plant. Your blessings remain unseen until your spiritual roots can support the weight of what God is about to release into your life. There are also seasons when God conceals blessings to protect them from the enemy's interference. The enemy would love to attack what God is building for you, so God often keeps His plans invisible until the moment of manifestation. What the enemy cannot see, he cannot sabotage. What he cannot trace, he cannot disrupt. God hides your blessings in the secret place, nurturing them in silence until they are ready to emerge untouched, unharmed, and fully develop. This divine protection ensures that when the blessing reaches you, it will come intact, complete, and unspoiled by anything that could diminish its power or purpose. You may feel as though nothing is happening, but behind the veil, God is securing every detail with precision and safeguarding every part of what He has prepared. When the blessing finally appears, it will not feel random or sudden. You will recognize that everything you endured, every delay you experienced, every prayer you prayed, and every test you faced was part of the preparation process. The blessing was not late. Your faith was being made ready. God times the release perfectly, ensuring that when the hidden blessing comes into the open, you are not just able to receive it, but able to sustain it, appreciate it, and steward it for His glory. Financial breakthrough is connected to your purpose and calling. Many people separate their spiritual life from their financial life, not realizing that God intertwines both to guide them into the destiny He has prepared. When God provides financially, He is not merely giving resources for comfort. He is equipping you for assignment, influence, and impact. Every blessing carries purpose, every provision carries responsibility, and every increase carries direction. God does not release financial blessings randomly. He releases them intentionally, strategically, and according to the path He has designed for your life. You are not on earth by accident, and neither are the resources God plans to place in your hands. He aligns financial blessing with the next stage of your calling, making sure you have what you need to fulfill what He has appointed you to do. There are seasons when God withholds certain levels of provision, not because He has forgotten you, but because He is still shaping the purpose that blessing will serve. If He gave you everything too soon, you might use it in ways that do not align with His plan, or you might invest it in places that lead you away from your destiny instead of toward it. So He waits until your purpose becomes clearer, until your internal direction is stronger, until your heart is aligned with His will. Once purpose and spirit are aligned, the blessing begins to flow more freely. God never pours resources into an unprepared vessel, but He always equips a surrendered heart. Your calling attracts your provision, and when you begin walking in the direction God has chosen for you, financial doors open in ways you could never have manufactured by your own strength. There are also moments when the provision you receive becomes confirmation of the path God wants you to follow. Many people pray for direction, asking God to guide their steps, and sometimes the answer arrives in the form of supernatural financial favor. Unexpected opportunities, sudden elevation, unexpected help, and divine connections often signal that you are stepping into the right season. God uses finances not as the foundation of your purpose, but as fuel for it. When you seek His kingdom first, He responds by adding all the things you need to carry out His plan. Financial breakthrough becomes evidence of alignment, a sign that you are positioned where God wants you to be, and a reminder that He is the true source of every resource at the same time. Financial blessings also deepen your responsibility. When God entrusts something to you, He expects you to steward it well, to use it with wisdom, to sow into what matters, and to support what aligns with His heart. Purpose-driven provision is never selfish. It is always transformational. It allows you to help others, to lift burdens, to create impact, and to walk in generosity that reflects the nature of God. The more your purpose rises, the more God releases into your hands, not to elevate your ego, but to expand your influence for His glory. Financial breakthrough arrives when God knows the blessing will not distract you, but empower you. Not weaken your focus, but strengthen your calling. Not draw you away from Him, but draw you deeper into the assignment He created you to fulfill. Expect unexpected favor, opportunities, and supernatural provision, because God often moves in ways that transcend human logic and timing. Many of the greatest breakthroughs in your life will not come from places you anticipated or from people you expected. They will come from unexpected sources that reveal the creativity and sovereignty of God. When God decides to release favor, He is not limited by your background, your qualifications, your circumstances, or your connections. He can elevate you from obscurity to opportunity in a moment. He can shift the atmosphere around you so quickly that what once seemed impossible suddenly becomes accessible. His provision does not follow the patterns of the world. It follows the patterns of His purpose. This is why some of the biggest blessings you will ever receive will surprise you, arriving at a time you did not predict and through doors you never imagined would open for you. There are seasons when you feel like you have exhausted all your options. He tried everything in your strength and pushed every door you knew existed, and yet nothing seems to move. That is often when God begins to work in ways you cannot see, preparing answers that lie outside your expectations. Unexpected favor means God is working beyond your plans. It means He is orchestrating something better than what you were aiming for and positioning you to receive what you did not know how to ask for. He raises the right people to notice you. He puts your name in rooms you have never entered, and He stirs the hearts of individuals who feel led to help you without knowing why. When favor flows, it breaks barriers, bypasses limitations, and accelerates what would normally take years into moments of divine acceleration. Supernatural provision also involves God multiplying what appears small. Sometimes you look at what you have and think it is not enough, but God specializes in taking little and turning it into more than enough. He can stretch resources, increase opportunities, and open pathways that human reasoning cannot explain. When God's hand is upon your life, He brings provision that exceeds logic. It may come through a sudden opportunity, an unexpected financial blessing, a door you thought was closed forever, or a connection that appears out of nowhere. What looks like coincidence is often divine orchestration, proof that God has been arranging things in the unseen long before they materialize. There are also moments when unexpected favor arrives through challenges. What seems like a setback can become the doorway to elevation. What appears to be loss can become the path to gain. God sometimes uses difficulty to reposition you, redirect you, or remove you from situations that were too small for the next level of your destiny. When this happens, the unexpected becomes the very thing that unlocks greater provision. God's provision is not limited to money. It includes strength, wisdom, clarity, ideas, relationships, and opportunities that shift your entire direction. He provides insight that moves you forward, courage that sustains you, and grace that carries you into places you could not step into on your own. The key is staying expectant. When you live with an open heart and a posture of faith, you become ready to recognize divine opportunities that others overlook. Expecting God to move creates spiritual alignment with His timing, allowing you to receive unexpected blessings with humility and gratitude. In this posture, you become aware that nothing is too difficult for God, and that His provision can appear at any moment, from any direction, and through any means He chooses. Overflow comes to a heart that is prepared, grateful, and full of faith. God does not pour abundance into a spirit that is closed, discouraged, or distracted. He pours into a vessel that is ready to receive, ready to steward, and ready to honor Him with what is given. Preparation is not simply about organizing your life, but aligning your inner posture with God's timing. Many people desire overflow, but their hearts are still anchored in fear, doubt, or past disappointments. They look at their circumstances more than they look at God's promises. Yet overflow begins internally long before it is seen externally. When the heart is positioned in faith, it becomes a magnet for what God wants to release. Gratitude opens doors that complaining keeps shut. Expectation creates space for the miraculous. Trust makes room for divine movement. When these qualities are cultivated, the heart becomes fertile soil for overflow. Being prepared means you have allowed God to shape your character in the hidden places. It means accepting seasons of pruning without resentment, embracing seasons of waiting without losing hope, and receiving correction without resistance. A prepared heart understands that what God is doing inside is just as important as what He plans to release outside. If the heart remains immature, the overflow can be mishandled. But if the heart is anchored in humility, discipline, and obedience, the overflow becomes a tool for greater impact, blessing others and advancing God's purpose. Preparation also involves letting go of things that no longer align with where God is taking you. Sometimes overflow requires an emptying before a filling, a clearing before an abundance, a surrender before a blessing. What God wants to pour into your life cannot occupy space already filled with fear, bitterness, or self-reliance, so He works within you, removing what hinders your spiritual capacity, making room for what He has appointed. Gratitude also plays a fundamental role in attracting overflow. A grateful heart sees God's hand even in small blessings, and the one who appreciates little is capable of stewarding much. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present, amplifying faith and building spiritual maturity. It transforms the atmosphere of your thoughts, making it easier to recognize God's goodness even in moments of uncertainty. When you remain grateful in lack, you cultivate the strength to handle abundance. Gratitude strengthens your relationship with God and builds a deeper trust that allows overflow to manifest without overwhelming you. It guards your heart from entitlement and fosters humility, ensuring that when abundance comes, it does not replace your dependence on God. Faith is the force that activates overflow. Without faith, blessings remain dormant, waiting for the moment when belief makes them accessible. Faith turns anticipation into reality, prayer into manifestation, and spiritual potential into personal experience. It sees the invisible, expects the improbable, and trusts God even when evidence appears lacking. A heart full of faith is not shaken by delays or discouraged by obstacles. It continues to believe that God is working even when nothing is visible. This faith invites heaven to move, aligns your life with divine timing, and positions you to receive what God has been preparing. When faith, gratitude, and readiness come together, the heart becomes a vessel God can fill to overflowing, releasing blessings that not only meet your needs but spill into the lives of others. You are stepping into a season where God will exceed every limitation. There are moments in life when your surroundings, circumstances, and even your own thoughts place borders around what you believe is possible. You look at what you have, what you've lost, what didn't work, and what feels delayed, and you assume your future will mirror your present. But God is not restricted by the limits that confine you. He is not bound by your resources, your background, or your current season. When God decides to elevate you, He does so in ways that surpass your imagination, break human expectations, and reveal His sovereignty. Limitations that once held you back become platforms for His glory. Doors that seemed permanently shut suddenly open. Paths that looked impossible become clear. Circumstances that appeared stagnant shift in moments because God is beginning to lift you beyond what your own strength could ever accomplish. Often, God allows you to experience seasons of limitation so you can recognize that your breakthrough is not a result of human effort but divine intervention. When everything you tried failed, when every plan seemed to fall short, and when every route felt blocked, it was not a sign that you were forgotten, but a setup for God to demonstrate His power. He waits for the moment when your heart is ready to acknowledge that only He can take you where you need to go. It is in this surrendered posture that God begins to remove limits. He enlarges your territory, expands your opportunities, and increases your capacity. What once felt unreachable begins to come within your grasp, not because circumstances changed on their own, but because God breathed direction into your journey. This new season will not rely on the same patterns as your past. God is releasing fresh ideas, new connections, unexpected opportunities, and supernatural acceleration. The things that once took years to build, He can now complete in moments. The help you needed but never had will begin to appear. People who ignored you before will begin to notice. Plans that once seemed overwhelming will start to unfold with ease because God is going before you. His presence breaks cycles, His favor cancels delays, and His power overrides limitations that once defined your path. When God lifts limitations, He does not do it partially. He does it completely, shifting your environment, your influence, and your future. This season also requires your faith to rise to a higher level. When God calls you beyond limitations, He challenges you to think higher, believe greater, and step out in ways that stretch your comfort. You cannot enter a limitless season with a limited mindset. You must allow God to renew your expectations, raise your confidence, and expand your vision. What you believe determines what you receive. If you keep expecting small, you will miss the magnitude of what God is preparing. But when you align your faith with His promise, you position yourself to receive blessings that overflow beyond your abilities. God is about to reveal that no barrier was stronger than His plan, no delay was longer than His timing, and no limitation was powerful enough to interfere with what He has ordained for your life.